Have you ever felt that life moves too slowly? You try, you work, you pray, but nothing seems to change. It's like pushing on a door that won't open, no matter how hard you press. What if the waiting itself was not punishment but preparation? In a small riverside village, surrounded by red earth and quiet fields, lived a young woman named Mira. She was a potter, daughter of another potter, and her hands knew the language of clay better than words. Yet lately, everything she made cracked in the fire. Bowls split, jars crumbled, and her confidence shattered with them. Her father, Harun, watched her struggle in silence. He was old now, his back bent, his hair thin like smoke, but his eyes still carried calm. One afternoon, after Mira threw yet another broken pot against the wall, Harun picked up a lump of fresh clay and handed it to her. "How long did this clay rest before you worked it?" he asked. "Rest?" she replied, frustrated. "I shaped it right after I brought it from the river. Why should I wait? The sooner I work, the sooner I succeed." He smiled softly. "And yet it keeps breaking. Clay that's too wet doesn't listen to the hand. It must breathe first. Find its balance again. If you rush it, it cracks. If you wait, it holds." Mira rolled her eyes. "So now even clay needs time?" Her father nodded. "Everything alive does." That night, she couldn't sleep. His words clung to her like wet soil. Why wait when she could act? The next morning, she rose early, fetched new clay from the river, and threw herself into work. Her fingers moved fast, shaping a perfect bowl, but before her eyes, a thin crack appeared along the side. The bowl collapsed like soft bread. She slammed her fist into the table. "It's never enough." Her father stepped quietly behind her. "When you rush the clay," he said gently, "you're really rushing yourself." Mira turned away. His calmness felt like salt on her wound. That evening, she wandered to the river, where the current glided in silence. The water was in no hurry, it simply flowed. She sat watching it until she noticed something. Where the river was still, it reflected the sky perfectly. Where it rushed, it turned muddy and blind. The next morning, she tried something new. She gathered clay but didn't touch it. She covered it with a cloth and let it rest. For days, she checked it, touching it lightly, feeling it change. Each day, it became a little firmer, a little more ready. When she finally shaped it, the clay obeyed. Her hands and the earth moved together, not against each other. The next day, when she opened the kiln, the pot was whole. For the first time in months, she smiled without forcing it. Her father looked at her and said simply, "Now the clay was ready, and so were you." Peace never stays untested for long. Weeks later, the sky darkened, and a furious storm swept through the village. The river overflowed. The wind tore through rooftops. Mira ran to cover her workshop, but the wind ripped everything apart. When morning came, her kiln lay cracked open, her shelves in pieces, her pots scattered like bones. She fell to her knees among the shards, her fingers trembling. "Why does life break everything I build?" Her father placed a hand on her shoulder. "The fire outside is the same one that tempers you inside. You can't command the storm, but you can decide what survives it." But that night, her heart refused wisdom. She sat by the swollen river, holding a broken fragment of her favorite pot. Under the moonlight, she whispered, "If patience is a gift, I don't want it." She threw the shard into the river. It vanished, swallowed by the current. In the morning, she expected to feel lighter. Instead, she found her father rebuilding the kiln brick by brick. Without a word, she joined him. They worked silently through the day. When they finished, Harun said, "You think patience means waiting for the storm to pass, but true patience is rebuilding while it still rains." The words rooted inside her. Patience, she realized, was not about peace without pain, it was peace within pain. That evening, she gathered her last bit of clay and shaped something small, imperfect, and real. When she opened the kiln the next morning, it was whole. Not flawless, but alive. She smiled. For once, she didn't thank the outcome, she thanked the process. One misty morning, while Mira collected clay, she noticed an old woman standing by the riverbank. The woman's shawl was the color of wet stone, her eyes clear as morning light. She drew slow circles in the water with a willow switch. "You're the potter who rebuilt the kiln," the woman said. Mira nodded. "I suppose I am." The woman smiled. Then you've already met Patience. Now you must meet her sister, Acceptance. Mira frowned. Aren't they the same? The woman shook her head. Patience is how you hold time. Acceptance is how you hold reality. Patience says not yet. Acceptance says this is so. Without patience, you rush what needs to grow. Without acceptance, you fight what cannot change. She drew the willow across the river again. See the current? It yields to the rocks but keeps moving. That's acceptance and patience dancing together. Mira listened as if her heart had ears. What's your name? She asked. Salma, the woman said. I tend the river and sometimes the people who forget they're part of it. She picked up 3 stones and placed them before Mira. 3 bowls for your life. The bowl of shaping what you can control. The bowl of tending what you can care for but not command. And the bowl of bearing what you can neither change nor avoid. Most pain comes from putting things in the wrong bowl. Mira picked up a stone. I tried to shape the storm, she whispered. Salma nodded. And blamed yourself when it wouldn't listen. Acceptance doesn't mean liking what happens. It means seeing it clearly enough to stop wrestling shadows. Then Salma asked her to bring clay. She divided it into 2 lumps. Shape the first, the way you used to fast, sure, trying to control it. Mira obeyed. The clay rose quickly, then wobbled, cracked, and collapsed. Now, said Salma, breathe, loosen your jaw, shape the second but follow the clay instead of leading it. Mira slowed. She felt where the clay wanted to move, where it resisted, where it yielded. The vessel rose steady and true. Salma smiled. See? Both were patience time with clay, but only one was acceptance time with truth. Mira laughed softly. All this time, I thought patience meant waiting longer. No, said Salma. It means waiting with. Before leaving, Salma gave her the iron-streaked stone and said, when life resists you in the same place again and again, perhaps it belongs to the bowl of bearing. Carry it gently, not as punishment but as purpose. Mira bowed. How do I carry what I can't repair? Salma touched her chest. Turn it into meaning. Let every wound teach you a kindness you couldn't learn in comfort. And then she was gone, fading into the reeds like part of the river itself. Months passed. Mira's work grew steady and beautiful. People came from nearby towns to buy her pottery. They said her hands carried peace, that her cups felt like forgiveness. Praise poured in like rain, and with it came something dangerous. Pride disguised as joy. One day, a wealthy merchant offered to buy all her pots at once. You could be famous, he said. Open a workshop in the city. Leave this small village behind. Her heart raced. Fame, success, recognition, wasn't this what she had always wanted? She almost said yes. But then she remembered Salma's words. When life floods you with what you think you want, check which bowl it belongs in. She sat by the river that night. The water shimmered under the stars, calm and endless. If I leave, she thought, I might lose this peace. If I stay, I may lose the chance to grow. She reached for the iron-streaked stone. Its weight grounded her. Not everything that glitters belongs in the bowl of shaping. Some gifts are traps disguised as opportunities. The next morning, she thanked the merchant politely and refused. Instead, she offered him tea in one of her simple cups. Why refuse fortune? He asked. Mira smiled. Because peace is my business now. The city doesn't sell that. When he left, she placed the cup on her shelf and whispered to herself, the clay taught me to wait. The fire taught me to let go. The river taught me to move. As years passed, Mira's workshop became more than a place to make pots. It became a refuge. When storms came, neighbors gathered there to keep warm. When grief visited someone's home, they brought a small piece of broken pottery to Mira's door. She would melt it into new clay and shape something new. A bowl, a cup, a vase. Nothing wasted. Each time she worked, she dipped her hands in the river first, whispering, I'm not shaping alone. She kept Salma's stone near her wheel, and beside it, a small bowl labeled The Stories We Carry. Visitors dropped small notes inside. Today, I waited. I forgave my brother. I started again. Whenever she fired her kiln, she placed the bowl nearby, as if to let those stories harden into strength. One evening, a child asked her, Aunt Mira, don't you get tired of waiting for the clay to dry? She smiled. Sometimes, but that's when I remember it's not only the clay that's drying, it's me that's forming. We cannot hurry the seasons of life. The clay takes its time, the fire tests, the river carries, and every storm leaves its lesson. You can't control the wind, but you can learn to sail. You can't stop the storm, but you can rebuild while it rains. And maybe, just maybe, the waiting you hate today is the shaping that will save you tomorrow. If this story touched something inside you, take a breath before you scroll. Write in the comments, what are you learning to wait for? Your story might be the mirror someone else needs to see their own reflection. And if you felt calm or understood a truth you'd forgotten, subscribe. Not as a follower, but as part of a circle of people who are learning, like Mira, to live gently inside time. Because sometimes, peace doesn't arrive when everything is perfect. It arrives when you finally stop trying to rush the clay.